There's nothing better than the smell and taste of freshly baked homemade bread. I'm Peter Sidwell and I'm going to show you how to make the perfect loaf of bread. It all starts with 500 grams of strong white flour. So straight into a mixing bowl. And then all we need is a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of sugar. Pop that straight into there. And then we need 7 gram sachet of dried yeast. Pop that straight into the flour, but make sure you put it to one side of the bowl away from the salt, because yeast really does not like salt at all. Put that to one side, and then get your hand like a claw motion, just kind of roll it around, mix all the ingredients together, and then I've got 300 mils of tepid warm water. Just pour a little, about half of it in first, and with that claw motion, just start rolling your hand around the bowl. Touch more water. When it comes off in your hand and the bowl is empty, that means it's ready to transfer to the worktop. So straight onto there, we're going to dust that with a little bit of flour on the top, a little bit underneath, and then with one hand hold the dough, and then with your other hand push the dough away from it and then pull it back over itself. This is called kneading. What you'll find is when you're kneading this bread, you might think you've got into a bit of a mess, but if you stick with it and keep kneading, eventually the dough will start to become really smooth and really easy to move about the worktop. So this dough, I've been kneading it for about 2 or 3 minutes now, and it's really, really smooth. You can see the dough's completely changed. It's really easy to move about in my hands. It's not sticking at all. All the flour on my worktop has gone now. It's all in the dough, and that means it's ready for its first prove. So just turn it into a ball, just kind of tuck it under itself, and then pop it in a bowl there, and we're going to let that prove for about 30 to 40 minutes until it's doubled in size. This dough has had 30 minutes now, and you can see that it's doubled in size and it's got lots of little air pockets in it. So I've got this bread scraper here, just going to carefully scoop the dough out onto the worktop. It's completely changed, this dough now. It's really sort of light and aerated and fluffy. But what we've got to do now is knead it once more, give it about a minute of stretching it, and then we're going to shape it into the perfect loaf. So to make a really nice cob, just take your 2 hands, and if you think about a clock at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and just turn the dough and kind of scoop everything underneath. So we get that nice domed kind of farmhouse cob effect. Now today I'm going to bake the bread in this ceramic stoneware from Lakeland, and this is perfect for creating that wonderful crust. So this is shaped now. I've got some parchment paper here. All we're going to do is add a touch of olive oil to this, just to make sure that this bread doesn't stick. Use your hands, just kind of rub that on there, and then carefully pick up your loaf, pop it on there, and then I've got another mixing bowl here. Just take the corners up and just pop it into the mixing bowl, and we're going to leave that to prove for 40 minutes until it's really nicely doubled in size and ready for the oven. So I've preheated my bread baking stone. It's really important that you do that to make sure you get a really good crust. We've got our bread dough here. It's sat inside the greaseproof parchment paper here. Really, really carefully lift that out. Be really gentle because you don't want to knock out any of the air. So put your hand over the top of the dough and just turn it over really gently, and then slide it into the breadstone. There, that's it. All the air is still in there. And then we're going to whip that straight into the oven. We're going to bake it at 200 degrees for about 30 minutes. But what I'm also going to do is I've got some water here and a tray at the bottom. So I'm going to add a bit of steam. Shut the oven door quickly. What that'll do is it'll raise the temperature of the oven by about another 10%, so we get that instant kind of oomph of heat, which will make the bread rise again for us. Bread's had 30 minutes in the oven now, so it'll be ready to take out. And using a cloth, I carefully remove the bread. It shouldn't stick because we preheated the stone. There we go, straight out. Now the best way to test the bread's cooked is just carefully turn it over, give it a little tap. If it sounds hollow, then you know it's going to be perfectly cooked and ready to tuck in.